My new favorite line in Silence of the Lambs is when he's telling her to put the fucking lotion on.
Yeah.
And he's like, you put the fucking lotion in the basket.
Oh my god.
Put it in the basket. Put the fucking lotion in the basket.
Oh my god. Oof. Did you just watch it?
I watched it like 3 weeks ago. I came home kind of drunk from work and I was like, I'm going to put Silence of the Lambs on at 11:30. And then that line just got me. I rewound it like 6 times and I like tried to mirror his voice as much as I could.
I bet your neighbors love that. Hello and welcome to Physical Therapy, a movie podcast. We're here every week talking movies inspired by the world of physical media and beyond. My name is Kurt.
My name is Sam.
Sam, today we're watching for the first time 1995's Sudden Death, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I can't wait.
Recently released on 4K from Kino Lorber.
This was one that I bought blind from a Kino sale. Was happy that it shipped with a slip sleeve still, and I've really been looking forward to putting this on.
Yes, I'm very excited. Before we get started today, thank you so much for listening to this show. If you're enjoying it, please tell your friends. Please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. That stuff is very helpful.
Yeah, give us a shout out on our Instagram.
Yes, at PT Movie Pod.
Tag us, send us a message. Got any suggestions about movies we should cover?
We would love to hear from you. Should we talk a little bit about some recent announcements?
Yeah. Also, should we talk about the fact that you totally broke my heart? I sent Kurt a picture of some recent pickups that I'd gotten, and his exact response was, "Oh, wow, no slip on Alien Romulus." And I said, "Wait, there's a slip?" I was so sad, dude. I was so sad.
It's a good slip, too. It's sort of like raised.
Oh, sure.
You know, it's like the face hugger on her face, but it's like, you know, has texture to it.
Damn.
Sorry, Sam.
Fuck you, Amazon.
It's one of those slip sleeves that kind of drive me crazy, though, because it has some sort of like silver underlayer to it. So it becomes very easy for like little pieces of it to scratch off.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts.
It's hard out there, guys. It's hard to be us. If anybody's got an extra Alien Romulus slip sleeve, please mail it to me.
We had some announcements just the other day from Arrow that I'm pretty excited about.
These look like a lot of fun.
They're doing like across the summer, basically, I think starting in what, April?
April, May, June. Yeah.
Okay, cool. They're doing the Man with No Name trilogy from Sergio Leone on 4K. So that's Fistful of Dollars for a few dollars more, and then The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
I'm not sure I've ever seen For a Few Dollars More.
I definitely watched them all when I was in high school, but I don't think I've seen the first two since. I've seen Good, the Bad, and the Ugly many times.
Okay.
I'm excited to revisit these. And notably, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, you know, was on Kino already on 4K, but didn't have HDR.
Well, and let's point out that these 3 movies in particular are from Arrow's UK line.
Oh, yeah.
So you're going to have to pick those up from Diabolic or Orbit or wherever you get imported movies, but you won't find these like at Barnes & Noble. I believe there's already a pre-order for all 3 of them up on Orbit.
That's true. And Diabolic.
Oh, I thought I only saw the one at Diabolic, but if they got them all up there, that's great.
So that's super exciting.
What I'm actually more excited for, though, is they announced on 4K with HDR Shane Black's The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Rennie Harlin's The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Sorry. Shane Black written, Rennie Harlin directed Long Kiss Goodnight. I believe this is where Gina Davis and Rennie met. Are they still married?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. This precedes Cutthroat Island. It must, yeah.
Yes.
I can't wait. I've never seen this. I've been looking for the Blu-ray every time I go down to Amoeba because, I don't know, we talked about it, I think maybe even on this show a long time ago, and I realized I'd never seen it. You recommended it.
It's so awesome, dude.
And it's been on my list, and now what a treat. 4K.
Samuel Jackson, Gina Davis, Clive Owen.
Oh, shit.
It's great. I remember seeing it as a kid, and there's like a part where you see a dead body, and it scared the fuck out of me, man.
Hell yeah. I'll definitely use this as an excuse to double feature with Cutthroat Island, which I bought
You
a
do
long
have
time ago from Diabolic and have yet to watch.
That's incredible.
It's like a 4K from, I think, Studio Canal, maybe?
Shit, dude. Should that just be an episode? Long Kiss Goodnight / Cutthroat Island?
Probably.
Don't threaten me with a good time, baby.
There's a couple that I hadn't really heard of, too, like Booger. What's Booger?
Yeah, I don't know anything about Booger. You know, Arrow's pretty good about sometimes like picking up the rights to smaller independent movies. They put out a movie that I really, really love a couple years back called Dinner in America that I was having a really hard time finding anything, even streaming wise, in the States. And that was, again, a UK release, but I was able to get it from Diabolic, and that movie's fucking awesome. So Booger might be kind of in that same realm.
Really a rough word, Booger. I don't like saying it. Don't love hearing it.
Booger is apparently the name of a cat, so that's good.
That's cute.
We're chilling.
I'm tempted by Umbrella's release of The Fall on 4K.
I can't fucking wait. I want it so badly.
Is The Fall awesome?
The Fall is awesome.
Shit. Okay. I don't remember it very well. I saw it in the theater.
I'm going to scoop up that. There's another Arrow announcement called V Cinema Essentials, Bullets and Betrayal V Cinema Essentials. Looks like a lot of cool Japanese movies, which I kind of have a soft spot for, especially Arrow's versions of them. The cases tend to be great. One of the titles in there is one of the female prisoner Scorpion movies that isn't in the box set that they released before.
Oh, wow. Yeah, this box set sort of looks like the revenge Western ones.
Yeah.
It's kind of packaged like that, yeah. I also want to mention that Shout is doing Hail Caesar.
Are they really?
Was that a wish? I think I wished for that. They're doing a 4K of it.
I didn't realize they were doing that.
Yep. From the Coen brothers. Can't wait for that. And I don't think it's Shout, but Burn After Reading was also announced to be coming this year on 4K.
I saw that. Yeah, can't fucking wait. Hell yeah.
Looks like April 8th. That movie rocks. What else, Sam? Anything you're looking forward to?
A24 announced, or it's up for pre-order, I believe. A24 just announced a pre-order for a Blu-ray of Sing Sing.
Oh, cool.
Which when it was one of my favorite movies the last year, I really, really loved that one.
Yeah, I got to see that.
I'm excited to get that. I actually have like a big old A24 order that I need to do at some point.
Who stocks those? Barnes & Noble? Do they get those in the store?
Barnes & Noble just started stocking them, yeah, which is cool.
Yeah, I saw a couple at Amoeba the other day. They had Heretic down there.
Oh, sweet. Are they going forward with a different casing, or are they still kind of the taller cloth bound?
Yeah, I think it's small stuff now, like
okay,
short cases. I haven't seen the tall ones since like Stop Making Sense, I think is the last one.
Which is also like still $58 fucking on their website. It's crazy, dude.
Do they go on sale?
No, I don't think they do at all. You can sign up for their like membership program, and I think you get 10 or 15% off in the store. But I've never seen A24 have a sale of any kind.
Got it. Transitioning to the movie theater, we're going to go see Companion after we record this podcast.
I saw it on Thursday.
Excited for that.
Mm-hmm.
I also saw Steven Soderbergh's new movie this week.
Oh, Presence?
Yeah.
I'm going to see it on Tuesday, unless you think I shouldn't.
No, you should. I liked it.
Okay. I've seen it all, man. Flight Risk.
Oh my God.
Companion.
Fucking Flight Risk.
Whatever else I've seen. Flight Risk is a pile of fucking shit.
I saw someone on Instagram, like the caption was like, my 1 second review of Flight Risk, and the photo was just them giving the finger to the poster.
You know, it just felt like an unfinished movie. And also the first shot of the movie came up, and my initial reaction was, oh, what production company is this? I've never seen this logo before. And then it cuts to Topher Grace, and I was like, oh, that's the first shot of your movie, which is, I think, all AI created. Ugh. And it's so bad, dude. It's so crazy bad.
No, thank you. And then hard cut to us doing it on this show in 7 years.
Well, anyway, Arrow released a big box version of Flight Risk, and it's got the director's cut.
Yeah, what's up with Flight Risk? Recording this show from our fucking bomb shelters.
Because Mel Gibson's president. Because Flight Risk is president.
Okay, Sam.
Yeah, as you've heard on the show before, we're going to do a live reaction and kind of recap the movie for you, like we did with Turbulence.
Yep, everyone's favorite episode of the show, Turbulence.
Yeah, and other 90s movies that nobody gives a fuck about. But, you know, this is another Kino. You and I had a blast watching Turbulence. It was a 90s movie from Kino. We hadn't heard anything about it, hadn't seen it, had a blast watching it. So I'm hoping we have the same type of experience with this movie and Jean-Claude.
I talked to my mom on the phone yesterday and she was like, oh, I haven't listened to the newest episode yet because I'm going to watch the movie first. And I was like, what episode are you talking about?
Yeah.
Because our last one was like superhero or comic book movies. And she said, Turbulence. And I was like, Mom, that episode came out like 6 weeks ago. You're not listening to the show anymore? If you're not listening to the show, I don't think anyone is out there.
Yeah. Honestly, that's scary, man. Even our moms are falling off.
Okay, buckle up, everybody. If you're interested, fire up Sudden Death with us, and we will be back to talk all about it. Sam, welcome back.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
We just took down Sudden Death for the first time. We learned that this movie is directed by our man, Peter Hyams.
We love this guy.
He directed End of Days, which we watched for this show. He also did an awesome movie that Kino did a 4K of recently called Narrow Margin.
Just bought that. Very excited.
Nice.
He also did 2010, which I've actually never seen. 2010, the year we make contact. And a little movie I wished for early in season 1 called Outland.
Yep.
With our man Sean Connery as the only law on Jupiter's second moon, I believe.
Have I asked you what's up with The Relic?
I think you have. It's Tom Sizemore in Chicago, so it probably rules, but it's not very good.
He also did a Van Damme movie that came out the year before Sudden Death called Time Cop that was very recently announced as another Kino 4K.
No, it's Shout, actually.
Oh, it's Shout. Yeah, you're right.
It's Shout Factory.
So we're going to have to do that.
Yo, what's up with Time Cop? Have you seen it?
No, sign me up. The other thing that rules about Peter Hyams is he's his own DP. He shoots all his movies himself.
Hell yeah.
Which is very rare.
Yeah.
Especially for a movie of this scale.
This movie's big. Okay, so you also hadn't seen this movie.
I had never seen it.
We're both coming in blind. Incredibly fun, awesome time. Before we get into the movie fully, where does Jean-Claude sit in your action movie star tier?
Very low because I haven't had much exposure to him. I think the only other one of his I've seen is Hard Target, which I watched for the show.
Which is also phenomenal.
An excellent Kino as well. So I'm here for it. I want more in my life.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen a lot of his movies, but I don't think that I have. I can't wait to pick up Time Cop.
Is he in the original Expendables?
He's in the second one. And honestly, I was thinking about that while watching this movie. The Expendables 2 is a bad movie that he gives an awesome performance in.
I believe that. And then we maybe talked about it when I talked about Hard Target, but JCVD is one people really like, right? This sort of...
Yeah, that came out when we were in college, and it's very meta. It's like him riffing on the idea of being an action movie star during a bank heist, I believe.
Nice. So, Sudden Death.
Yeah.
We're going to walk through the story of Sudden Death, the plot here. We might get a little spoilery by the end of it. As we said, this is a 1995 action movie starring Jean-Claude Van Damme.
And Powers Booth.
The poster for this movie, the tagline, which is as big as the title, but just in a red font, says "Terror goes into overtime," and then the title's in white.
Sudden Death.
I'll be honest, I remembered this poster, and I did know what we were getting ourselves into to some degree before we started it, but there was a long period in my life where I thought this might have been like a sci-fi movie because the front of it is the top kind of dome of a hockey arena, and it looks a lot like a flying saucer because it's surrounded by like either city lights or like sparks from an exploding helicopter, and this movie's not a sci-fi.
I'm not sure I totally knew that this movie was going to take place all inside of an arena.
I knew that, but I did not realize it was going to be a hockey arena.
Yeah.
I think I thought it was football, but okay. Sudden Death opens with
like a suburban fire.
Yeah, there's a fire in a house in a neighborhood, and there's a long take during the opening credits that sort of starts on the street and follows firemen into this burning house, and pretty quickly you hear Jean-Claude Van Damme's unmistakable voice.
Like screaming for help.
Like, I found her, we need help. And the camera starts to follow that voice, goes down into the basement, and we find Van Damme, who plays a fireman named Darren McCord, holding a young girl that he has saved, and they're pinned down by some rubble, and they're sharing an oxygen mask, and he's screaming for help. from his fellow firemen.
When all of a sudden,
Yeah.
like another explosion happens and some rubble falls on top of Jean-Claude and this little girl right as his team of firemen are rushing in, and they break him free. But as we discover, the little girl has sadly died.
Yes.
It just straight up fades to black. 2 years later, game day. That's the only thing that comes up on screen. And I paused for a second. I was like, wait, am I supposed to know what game this is or who's playing or what sport or what? All it says is game day. And then it's like a helicopter shot of Pittsburgh. I didn't know it was Pittsburgh at the time, but it is Pittsburgh.
Yep.
We meet Jean-Claude as he's going up to his ex-wife's house to meet his 2 kids, where he has Game 7 tickets of the Stanley Cup, which is the Pittsburgh Penguin versus our Chicago Blackhawks.
He is a fire marshal at the stadium.
Yes.
Which is what gets him access to these tickets. His kids he's got a young daughter and a young son. The son is played by Ross Malinger, who people will know as the son from Sleepless in Seattle.
Oh.
This is, I believe, just after that.
Big old buck teeth, that kid.
All-star performance. Oh, yeah. And he's, I just looked, he has a very small role in Kindergarten Cop.
Really?
When he's a much younger kid. Yeah.
Is he the kid who gets beat up by his dad?
No.
Damn.
No.
You hit the kid, I hit you.
So Van Damme brings these kids to the game.
Mm-hmm. He's bringing the kids in while the bad guys, who are nameless and we're not really sure what they're after at this point, but they're breaking into the arena and getting clearance because they're all in disguise.
That's cross-cutting between security protocol being established at the stadium because the vice president of the United States is going to be in attendance in kind of a press box seating room.
Yeah.
And so we're understanding the layout of how you get to that room and the security protocols on the way.
Pretty quickly, the bad guys get in and take control of the presidential box that is housing the vice president, the mayor, some of their family, and a couple other bystanders.
Mm-hmm. And some Secret Service agents.
Powers Booth, who plays the lead bad guy, who is fucking awesome in this movie. Just having the time of his life, dude.
A lot of one-liners, a lot of like confident villainy.
Yes, just chewing the scenery in the best way possible. He establishes the rules. They're going to execute 1 hostage at the end of the first quarter. Period. 2 hostages at the end of the second period and 3 hostages at the end of the third period, and blow up the arena unless basically all this CIA dark money gets transferred into an account that he can access.
Yeah, like a bunch of offshore accounts. And it's like $1.5 billion that he's after.
I want to say at this point that we're like 40 minutes into the movie, and it's pretty like crazy violent.
Oh, it's horrifying.
Just watching all of these like innocent people just get smoked left and right.
Powers Booth is gleefully executing people in this box.
And kind of in a way that I don't feel like you see in a bunch of 90s action movies where like the bad guy, I would say it's this, and off the top of my head, Tommy Lee Jones and Under Siege. They're just like really bad. They're like, their level of villainy is very high.
Yeah. I mean, at the risk of turning off a mass audience, which I think is something that sort of sets this apart from a Die Hard. I mean, this is very much Die Hard in a hockey stadium.
Yeah, without a doubt.
We'll get to all that. But, Air Force One is really brutal. Die Hard's brutal too, but this is very like on-screen executions. And like that happens one time, I would say, in Air Force One from my memory. And it's quite intentionally upsetting.
Yeah.
And like there's a lot of build up to it, and it's a character that you're like invested in.
It just happens like every other scene in this movie.
Yeah. So that caught me off guard.
Without a doubt, man. I knew we were in for a silly 1995 action movie, but I was like, wow, there's some raw shit in this.
Yep. And pretty quickly, Van Damme has shown his kids to their seats, and he needs to leave in order to what?
He's just doing his job. Like he's checking.
Oh, yeah. He's working. Yeah.
Yeah. He's the fire marshal for the arena at that that night. So he's changing like emergency light bulbs and checking fire extinguishers and that shit.
So he leaves the kids in the seats and instructs them like, don't leave for anything. And 2 props have been established. 2 Chekhov guns, if you will.
Yeah, I was going to say.
The first is a small hand stamp.
Yep.
Like something you would stamp someone else's hand with like a little, I don't know what it is, animal on it.
It's a duck.
That the daughter is using. You see her like stamp her dad's hand and stamp the security guard at the front who's like checking tickets, and it's really cute. So she's got this stamp. Her brother has an old school mini like yellow and green Super Soaker.
For kids of the 90s, this is the original Super Soaker.
Yeah.
But the like small version of it. Like this kid's literally got it tucked into his waistband like he's packing heat.
Yep. Those things are clearly being established as something that will play a part later. Van Damme leaves them in their seats. They get some sodas. The brother squirts his sister in the face.
Thus, she spills her soda on herself and runs off to the bathroom.
In the bathroom, she sees
the mascot, the giant penguin.
The giant penguin, the mascot of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
What's his name in this? Icy? Ice?
Mr.
Cloth?
Icy or something?
Yeah.
She sees that one of the bad guys has commandeered this mascot outfit and murdered somebody. So the evil mascot is about to execute her, this little girl, in a bathroom. And a bunch of people come in. So she is kidnapped by this mascot, this giant penguin, that takes her up to the skybox with all the terrorists. And at this point, Van Damme has realized that she's not in her seat and is running around the stadium looking for her. He ends up confronting the mascot, who comes back downstairs into the kitchen after putting the daughter upstairs, and gets into a huge, like, choreographed fight scene.
An incredible fight in the kitchen.
And it's Van Damme versus, like,
a giant fucking, like, 7-foot penguin.
Sports mascot, yeah.
I do want to point out earlier, we are in the kitchen and there is a chef cutting onions. And for anybody who has ever worked in a kitchen or cut an onion, this guy could not be further off from the mark.
Is this the guy who throws the butcher knife up in the air?
Yeah. This fucking guy is cutting an onion like a blind toddler. It is fucking insane, man. It's just like, oh my God.
As someone who sucks at cooking, I can tell you I never noticed this.
I did. It was, you know, we're keeping him honest here at Old Physical Therapy, but that was some bullshit cutting. He's like mashing it down like it's not going to go anywhere.
Sam, describe this kitchen fight.
It is like everything you want out of a ridiculous fight, especially for a 90s fight. You know, it's like 2 stunt men doing this, using every tool in a kitchen. So there's a moment where Van Damme almost gets his face cut off with a deli slicer.
Yep.
There's another moment where the giant penguin, like its glove comes off and the hand goes into a deep fryer.
There's a lot of, like deep fryer, like bowls of boiling oil around, because it's like a, sports stadium. So they're making all this fried shit, and constantly people's heads are coming near it and their hands. Yeah.
And, so it's a classic like hand-to-hand fight, which is great. Especially Van Damme is so crazy talented at kicking people. So like watching him use his legs is awesome. And it culminates in the penguin getting punched onto, I've never seen a dishwasher like this, but it's like a tread-loading dishwasher.
Yeah, like a conveyor belt that goes through like a super hot machine to clean these dishes.
It's truly like what they put your sandwich on at Potbelly, but just a dishwasher instead. And the giant penguin gets punched onto this conveyor belt and the head gets caught. So it like rips off and it's strangling the person, but then they get run through the super hot dishwasher and die.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty quickly after that, Van Damme gets in another fight with a dude in that same kitchen.
Yep. They just double down.
And breaks a fucking massive turkey bone and stabs the dude in the neck.
Yep.
And it's awesome. I do want to say, at the end of the turkey bone in the neck fight, it pans back over to the dishwasher and the penguin is gone. So
they make a whole thing about that when they first walk in.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's so weird because the person, like it's a very close-up shot of their hand coming out of the glove, and you see the hand under the penguin. Mm-hmm. It's got red nail polish on, and then you see that hand go into the fryer and it comes out and it's all burnt and everything. And they make a choice to put a close-up of the burnt hand on screen. And then the penguin is gone later. I thought they were going to cycle back and have that person who's under the penguin suit like jump out or do something, and we were only going to tell that it was that person by the burnt hand. but it literally never comes up again for the rest of the movie.
I just read it as like the bad guys were cleaning up their tracks pretty quickly. Like they found the dead penguin lady and pulled her out.
I thought it was very much like Die Hard, as you said earlier, where at the very end, after the whole, they're out of the building, that one huge dude who like gets hung somehow just like rips off a jacket and has a giant machine gun and the cop smokes him. Sadly not in this one.
Sadly not. So all the while it's established that Powers Booth and his crew have planted C4 plastic explosives all over the stadium. And Van Damme learns about this and is on a mission to sort of a very video game style mission to like find all the bombs and disarm the bombs.
So again, as like a fire marshal, he is like, this is where I would put them if I was trying to like do the most damage and bring the building down on top of itself.
Yeah, the most structural damage. I liked that a lot.
Me too.
I was going like, how the fuck is he finding all these things? But then they answer that question in a very satisfying way.
It honestly makes sense for his specialty in this movie.
Yep. There is a couple things to note about his past and his character in general, I guess. His kids see him change out a light bulb, an emergency light bulb, as part of his fire marshal duties. There's a sense of disappointment from his daughter where she's sort of saying,
like, I thought my dad was a hero.
Isn't daddy a fireman anymore?
Yeah.
And then the son is kind of like, he's a fire marshal. He's not a fireman anymore.
Yeah. What does he say? He's like, no, Emily, dad's not a fireman anymore.
The other thing to know about Van Damme's character is that he was a junior pro hockey player in Canada at one point in his life.
He played goalie.
Yeah, he was a goalie. That's established early on as well, which will come into play later. Spoiler alert. There's some good stuff with like a Secret Service agents in kind of the van outside of the stadium having phone calls with the terrorists. There's a great sequence where they're sort of like, fuck it, we're going in anyways. And it's all these Secret Service guys approaching the stadium through an outdoor parking lot.
Yeah.
And as they get closer to the building, these rows of parked cars just start blowing up. And these guys are like running back through these cars that are exploding, getting lit on fire, flown through the air. They also then try to go into the stadium from above.
Yep.
There's these helicopters.
Yeah, with 2 helicopters.
Yeah. There are soldiers descending on ropes from these 2 helicopters. There's a terrorist bad dude who is across, the street with a rocket launcher.
Like, just like on top of a building.
Yep.
Just like waiting there.
And he shoots a rocket at these helicopters. Soldiers fall off of them. I was really hoping that one guy was going to like fall through the ceiling at this point into the stadium, but not quite yet.
Yeah, it's like a perfect moment of he blows up one helicopter and then the explosion of that helicopter fucks up the other helicopter and that one ends up exploding into the other one. There's like dudes hitting cars, like rain. It's literally raining men at that point. So as all this is happening, it's kind of cross-cutting between the terrorists in the booth and Van Damme disarming some of the bombs.
And all the while, the hockey game.
Yeah, and it like keeps cutting back to it.
The whole movie, it's going back and forth between the hockey game.
They do a good job of like letting you know where you are in the hockey game, so you know how many like captives are about to die. Like knowing we have 4 minutes left and he's got however many bombs. And they keep showing the score, which I just find awesome.
Yeah, it's perfect sort of countdown clock, the scoreboard.
While Van Damme is disarming a bomb, 2 terrorists happen upon him, and right as they're about to shoot him, somebody else shoots them. And we discover the Secret Service agent who's been the man in the van outside has found, like, weaseled his way into the arena and is helping Jean-Claude now. They've talked a couple times on the phone. They meet in person. Jean-Claude basically says, like, this is where I would guess the bombs are. This is where I'm going to go. You need to go get my son who's still in his seat. My daughter's, like, kidnapped in the booth. So they split up again, and fucking lo and behold, dude, that Secret Service agent is a fucking narc.
He's in on it.
He's in on it. He's working with Powers Booth. So Powers Booth and that agent meet and they discuss what the plan is. The agent says Van Damme has disarmed a couple of the bombs, but he has a kid in here. We just need to get this other kid and we'll be good to go. He fails at getting his son because the kid will not leave his seat because he said, my dad told me to stay here even if the building comes down.
He gets like some Stranger Danger vibes from this guy.
Yeah. Pretty soon we see Van Damme disarming another bomb. And this dude wanders up to him and kind of blows his own cover. And Van Damme, do you want to take this part? I lost my mind when this happened.
Yeah, so they're down in the tunnels. Secret Service guy, he's like, empty your pockets to Van Damme. And he does. And in his pockets are the super soaker that he's confiscated from his son and lighter fluid that we saw him grab from a desk earlier.
And a lighter. If you want to get technical, we don't see the lighter fluid.
Oh, you're right.
We've seen him pick up the lighter fluid earlier.
Yeah, sorry. He's got a lighter super soaker. So he turns this little super soaker into a flamethrower.
And the guy goes, because he kind of like, he has it in his hand, like he's going to kind of shoot him. And the guy goes, what are you going to drown me?
Yep.
And he lights him on fucking fire. And it's one of those things where it's like a tiny little flame shoots out and all of a sudden this guy is engulfed in flames.
And it looks great.
And it looks awesome. Dude, at that point I was like, here we go. Here we go. It's like, oh damn, dude. Oh damn. Incredible effects, incredibly done. And then, so Van Damme runs off and then all of a sudden this burnt guy shows up and he's got to fight him again.
Yeah, he's got Two-Face energy when he comes back. It's excellent.
Without a doubt. Also at one point, Van Damme makes like a weapon out of a fire extinguisher, a little hose, and like a dart that he finds.
Yeah, I think it's some sort of nail.
And he shoots a dude in the neck with that and it's awesome.
It is awesome.
I mean, it's like it is literally just Die Hard.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, this part of the movie is Van Damme killing a bunch of henchmen and disarming the bombs while the game is getting closer and closer to being done. And then in the last 10 seconds.
Wait.
Okay.
We mentioned that Van Damme is a former hockey player. There's a scene in this movie where he is evading henchmen. Mm-hmm. The goalie for the Penguins has
104-degree fever. There's absolutely no way he would have been allowed to play.
Yeah. He's left the game and he's on a respirator in the locker room. Van Damme flees to the locker room. Then it cuts back to the game and the goalie comes back and all the fans are screaming, yay, our goalie has returned. Can you believe it? He's a hero. Mm-hmm. Turns out it's Van Damme.
Yep.
Wearing a Penguins goalie uniform. He then is put into the game and there is a sequence where he just plays hockey for 5 minutes.
Yep.
And makes a fantastic save.
As the announcers say, the save of the year.
Yep.
For the 1995 hockey season.
So that part blew my mind.
And then he gets himself ejected from the game by just walking up to a Blackhawks player and punching him in the face.
Yeah.
And they put the, you know, second string goalie back in. There's literally 2 minutes left of the third period and the building is about to explode and his kids are about to die. And it like cuts to Van Damme like tying his shoes, like very slowly getting ready to go fight the terrorists some more. Time's counting down in the game. And it's kind of quickly cross-cutting between Van Damme getting ready and the game itself. And within the last 10 seconds, the Blackhawks are up 3-2, I believe. Or no, 4-3. And Luke something from the Penguins as like a breakaway on the ice and he's skating up. Seconds are counting down and he like rears back and shoots the puck and he scores at the absolute last second. So the game goes into sudden
death. Were you going to call it sudden overtime?
The game goes into overtime or sudden death. I was going to call it sudden overtime.
This summer, sudden overtime.
And thus, Powers Booth can't blow up the building because the game is not over yet. So he kind of like villainly chuckles to himself and he's like, they got more time.
Yep. And what does Van Damme do at that time? He puts a bunch of C4 explosive powder into a jar. He climbs
the entire building.
Yeah, he goes outside and climbs up the entire like dome arena to the roof. It has been established that the roof can open. And there is like a moment during, I don't know, whatever halftime is in hockey, I can't say, but some point in the game, it opens up and they see fireworks.
Yeah.
And so Van Damme gets to the top of the building, fights some bad guys, the roof is opening because he opens it.
He opens the roof.
Yep.
And absolutely nobody in the arena realizes that the roof is open.
Somehow.
Seemingly it's like the middle of January.
Yeah. There's a great shot that's like booming up, looking down at the hockey arena with them playing, that like finds the two of them hanging. That looked pretty good.
Yeah.
It like seemed like it might have been real.
There's a lot of like stunts in this movie that look awesome.
Yeah.
And aged really well, especially on 4K.
Yep. And so Van Damme, bests these henchmen, the last of which gets dropped into the scoreboard, the kind of giant hanging multi-sided scoreboard in the center of the ceiling. So that thing explodes. Now everybody's aware that shit's going down in the crowd because everybody's been oblivious.
The game's finally canceled.
Van Damme descends onto that scoreboard and is like hanging off of a light, like a giant floodlight, ceiling light, and starts Tarzaning toward the skybox where the hostages are, right?
Yeah. He like zip lines at one point. There's like a zip line there all of a sudden.
And in order to get into a skybox,
truly the most insane decision in this entire movie.
Yeah, a skybox is the size of a large like living room or bedroom. It's not very big. This thing sort of protrudes out into the stadium, and so it has a little roof over it. Van Damme, while Tarzan swinging over this hockey game, takes this glass jar of plastic explosives and whips it. His daughter's inside this small room and the vice president of the United States. He throws this jar onto the roof, causing it to explode.
Like a perfect man-sized hole. And he gets off the swinging light and like falls right through the hole into a room with like 4 dudes with guns and kills every single one of them in a matter of 2 seconds.
Yep. Hugs his daughter, gets praise from the VP, and Powers Booth escapes.
Yeah.
Slips his way out the door while the mayhem is happening. Was it also not established that the amount of C4 in that jar, times 5 could take down a fucking hockey stadium?
Dude.
And he just threw it at his daughter's head?
I don't really understand how C4 works, if I'm being completely honest.
That's okay. I think that's okay.
The amount of things in that jar, I'm thinking like Dark Knight Rises blown up that entire stadium.
A lot of Dark Knight Rises in this movie, by the way.
Hey, man.
Pittsburgh, stadium, national anthem, terrorists.
Last time I talked to Nolan, this was his favorite Jean-Claude movie.
Wouldn't surprise me.
So Powers Booth gets out of the booth. Van Damme reunites with his daughter. They share a hug, and then he kind of quickly runs out of the booth to go get his son, who is literally the only person still sitting in his seat.
Because his dad told him to.
And he goes up to his son, and his son said, "Dad, I didn't get out of my seat, even when things started to blow up."
And you're kind of like, maybe you should have.
Yeah, you're like, hey, kid, you're a fucking dumbass.
Yeah. So they're on their way out of the stadium.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wait, one more thing. The stamp.
Well, we're about to get there, dude.
Yeah, no, but we forgot to mention that she stamped Powers Booth's hand while kind of defending herself from his cruelty, which he is very fucking cruel to this little girl.
Yeah, he like tries to smack her at one point.
Yeah. She stamps his hand.
Jean-Claude and his 2 kids are about to leave the stadium. A Secret Service guy stops them and says, "Hey, the vice president is really appreciative and he wants to talk to you." As the camera pans over to find young Emily walking around, she's like, "Daddy, that's the man. That's the man with the stamp." It pans up to Powers Booth in the funniest wig of all time with a fake mustache on.
He looks like someone dressed as my dad for Halloween in 1995.
Is your dad a hockey fan?
No.
Really?
Hockey? No. I'm from Minnesota and I don't know shit about hockey. I feel like
I was going to say.
We were a football house, but not a hockey one.
All right.
She's pointing like, "Dad, that's the guy. That's the guy I just fucking watched execute many people."
Yes.
And she is walking toward him.
Like she would be screaming.
To the point where before he even hears his daughter, Powers Booth just bends over and kidnaps her again.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a moment where I'm like, oh, Christ, you got to be fucking kidding me with these kids.
These kids, they fucking shit the bed so bad in the third act of this movie. They drive me crazy. Powers Booth runs away with his daughter. Now Van Damme is chasing her back to the fucking roof where there's a little fight, and Van Damme is able to save his daughter. A helicopter then approaches with a rope ladder, and the last kind of remaining henchman.
Yeah, the fucking missile launcher
rocket launcher
henchman.
guy, who executes a little old lady in the beginning of this movie that we didn't even talk about. Shout out to her. So Powers Booth ascends this rope ladder to this helicopter.
So Jean-Claude Van Damme gets back up. His daughter, mind you, is on like the scaffolding of like the very top of the fucking Pittsburgh Penguins arena.
Yeah.
And he goes, wait right here. I gotta go fight that helicopter.
Yeah.
So he also jumps on the rope ladder, climbs up a couple rungs, and pulls out a gun that has fallen and shoots up at the helicopter, kills rocket launcher henchmen, and gets the pilot like in the throat.
Up through the bottom of their fucking jaw.
So the pilot, in his like death grip, I guess, pulls back on the stick. So the helicopter kind of like goes straight up.
It doesn't kind of go straight up. It forms the most perfect right angle with the earth you've ever seen. The tail is pointing to the ground. The cockpit is pointing to the heavens, and the horizon and it make a right angle.
Powers Booth is like still in there and alive, but gravity's pulling him back so he can't get up to the front. And then it just starts to fall. I think the controls are fucked at that point. It just starts to fall.
And remain in the most perfect right angle nature has ever seen.
It's like doing a dive into the arena.
Into the split ceiling.
Powers Booth and Jean-Claude Van Damme lock eyes as he falls.
This is happening so slowly. And it doesn't really look like slow motion. It just looks like a crane is lowering this helicopter very slowly into this opening. This part sucked, dude. Like,
oh, I loved this part.
Everything between the guys getting shot in the helicopter and that what happens to the helicopter, which we'll get to here, I was like, oh no.
My favorite part is that this helicopter is falling into the arena. Jean-Claude is on the roof. And his daughter is seemingly
in the path,
like 12 feet below him in the path of a fucking falling, exploding helicopter.
And the rotors I think are still going. Like, it's still spinning. It's just falling.
Yeah, the small one on like the back end is, but I don't think
there's enough rotor to potentially kill your child if you're Van Damme in this situation. But we don't even see her. Like, she's just off and safe at this point, presumably. And then this helicopter falls into this hockey arena, and in a 10 out of 10 practical effect hits the ice, still in a right angle straight down.
Yep.
And like buckles, and you're cutting between, multiple angles of this happening to Powers Booth inside screaming and getting lit up in flames, and
as it explodes around him.
It's a good death. Reminded me of Cliffhanger.
Ooh, yeah, good call.
Great helicopter. Great helicopters in Narrow Margin too. So Peter Hyams knows what he's doing.
Dang, dude, I gotta get on Narrow Margin. And then we see Jean-Claude's two kids like helping him get into a ambulance, and then his daughter says, "That's my dad, he's a hero," and it cuts to black. And that's the movie.
And that's it. This movie rocks.
Yeah, I was going to say, so after all that, how did you feel about it?
This movie rocks so hard.
We should point out we watched Kino's brand new 4K release of it. It came out a couple months ago, but it's still very new. This movie fucking rules. It looks incredible.
It does. I found it a little dark.
I was going to say there's a weird there's like a brown hue to it.
Yeah, it's a little muddy, and I think it's just the lighting, honestly, a lot of it. When there are scenes where things are lit, it looks great. But there are a lot of moments in it that are kind of lost in shadows. And the information's there. It's just, I think the HDR especially makes some of that stuff a little muddy and a little too dim.
Yeah.
But when it's bright, it's excellent. All the hockey stuff, especially like on the ice.
The arena looks great.
It looks amazing. Yeah, man, this is a fun one.
I really liked it.
Obviously, we haven't really dove into the special features or anything because we just watched this 5 minutes ago.
I cannot wait to watch the trailer for this.
Yeah, the trailer's included on the 4K, which is really nice, or the Blu-ray perhaps, which is included as well. And they have a new commentary track.
Dang, really? With who?
Looks like a critic and a filmmaker.
Okay.
And then just some BTS. It looks like nothing too expansive. But, if you're a Van Damme fan and a love and 90s movie in 4K. This is pretty top notch.
We've mentioned it a couple times on the show, but Kino is really doing a lot of cool and fun work just in terms of getting a lot of these, I don't know what you want to call it, mid-tier, mid-level 90s action movies out that I've been having just such a fun time seeing for the first time or revisiting.
Yep.
I have that narrow margin 4K that Kino also put out, but I've not yet watched it. That just moved very high on my list.
Someone recommended Blown Away to me the other day, Sam.
Dang, really? I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, you said you didn't like it very much, but that's another one they did that I've been circling. And I recently got Reindeer Games. So
Dude.
I look forward to seeing Reindeer Games from Kino on 4K.
I just can't wait for this Time Cop now.
Yep.
Sign me up.
We'll be back with Time Cop, people.
Yo, what's up with the one with Jet Li? You ever see that?
I think I have seen that because it was PG-13, and when it came out, I was allowed to. But I remember there was another one that I really wanted to see of his that I think was called
Romeo Must Die?
Yes, thank you. Romeo Must Die. Because I think that was rated R.
Isn't that him and DMX?
Yes, that sounds right.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Dude, what's up with Romeo Must Die? What's up with the one? Why do you bring that up?
I feel like it has similarities to Time Cop,
Oh, gotcha.
but I don't know. Yo, two movies just popped into my head from around the same time. What's up with both Murder at 1600 and The Art of War?
I don't know.
Wesley Snipes back to back, baby.
Murder at 1600 is, does the president die?
It's a young woman is murdered in the White House.
In the White House.
And it's,
The president fucking did it, right? Come on.
I think so. It's Wesley Snipes and Diane Lane.
Oh, shit. Damn. Kino. Kino.
And Ronnie Cox plays the president. Fuck yeah, dude.
Wow. When you said Ronnie Cox, my brain pictured, what's the guy's name in Deep Blue Sea? The redhead guy?
Oh, Michael Rappaport?
Yeah, I thought you said Michael Rappaport was the fucking president, and it blew my mind.
I would have jumped out this fucking window, dude.
Okay, Sam, before we go, it is time to put wishes out into the physical media universe for titles on formats that do not yet exist.
The real bummer is that I can't wish for Flight Risk because it's already been announced on 4K.
Steelbook, I think, is coming.
God.
Moments like this is when I wish I had just an unbelievable amount of disposable income so I could just order like 1,000 copies of Flight Risk Steelbook and just like block your front door with them.
The incredible thing about Flight Risk is that we wouldn't have it if it wasn't for Daddy's Home 2. Which is just an insane thing that has happened in my life. Everything keeps coming back to Daddy's Home 2, dog.
Can we talk real quickly about have you seen the 4K Steelbook for this movie, Flight Risk?
Is it like a slip sleeve and his hair piece comes off or something?
Yes. Is it an integral part of the film that he's bald?
Like, not at all. He's got like a baseball cap on in the movie, and there's a fight at one point, and his hat gets knocked off, and then there's just like a hair piece under it too. It makes it is, I think, totally his creation, like Marky Mark's creation, and it doesn't play any type of a role in the film at all.
God damn it.
It is so weird. So anyway,
I wish
I wish for an Arrow big box 4K of Passenger 57.
I wish for a 4K of Spike Jonze's Her.
Is your wish for Her based on the Arrow teaser of the red jacket?
No.
And people thought it could be the jacket that Joaquin wears in Her?
Oh, it's too red. His is more like...
The teaser image was too red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I never thought that. I think Her is just on my mind from just AI being
Everywhere.
a huge topic of conversation lately.
Yeah.
Her is 2013. This is Spike Jonze's last feature film, I think, right?
Wow, really?
I don't think he's made a movie since this.
Yeah, I think you're right, dude.
And, it takes place in the near future and follows a man played by Joaquin Phoenix who develops a romantic relationship with an AI sort of operating system voiced by Scarlett Johansson. And it is a beautiful movie.
We should point out that Spike Jonze, he's done some shorts and some TV stuff and did a Beastie Boys documentary for Apple TV Plus.
Oh, cool. Okay. His last feature then, or his last narrative.
Great call, great movie, great wish.
Really colorful. You mentioned the jacket. I mean, the color palette of the movie is really beautiful, and in 4K would be, a treat to watch. But I haven't seen it in a while, and I feel like it would play really interesting right now.
I was just going to say the exact same thing. It's kind of one of those titles that I've seen on my shelf and my eye gets drawn to over the past little bit. So I've been thinking about rewatching it, and I would love to be able to do that in 4K.
Passenger 57, Sam. I've never seen this, and I obviously want to.
Neither have I. This is a 1992 Wesley Snipes movie. Another seems like prime Kino Arrow umbrella release. I'm sitting here waiting for it, begging for it. I think I told this story on the Plane Movies episode / Turbulence, but my screenwriting teacher in college fucking hated this movie, like so much. And that guy sucked. So I'm assuming that this movie's awesome, and I can't wait to see it.
I watched Arrow's 4K of Demolition Man the other day.
Ooh, hell yeah.
Yeah, buddy. I hope Wesley Snipes has less one-liners in Passenger 57 than he does in Demolition Man. Let's just say that.
There's absolutely no promises. This movie also stars Tom Sizemore, Elizabeth Hurley, Michael Horse from Twin Peaks, and Bruce Greenwood.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
God, I love Bruce Greenwood.
Dude, Passenger 57 is probably the best movie ever made. So can somebody just put it out already so I can buy it? I'll give you my money right now.
Did we wish for executive decision yet on this show? Did we just talk about that?
Wasn't that my wish on the Plane episode?
Somebody needs to write this shit down. Where's Kim?
We need to talk about the Plane episode really quickly before we wrap this up. I've gotten a couple listener, I wouldn't say complaints, but
oh shit.
We need to point something out. You and I talked about movies that take place on planes for an hour, and neither one of us said the entire time snakes on a plane.
What's your relationship to snakes on a plane?
I saw it opening night at midnight when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And went, yep, that was a movie called Snakes on a Plane.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like at the time, the joke just of the entire thing was way funnier than it had, like, will age into. It's like the Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder bit.
Oh, yeah.
It was like funny at the time, but I just don't really care about it anymore.
Yeah.
What's yours? I mean, is that similar?
Yeah, same. I saw it on the opening day probably because everybody couldn't believe there was a movie coming out called Snakes on a Plane.
Yeah. Anyway, people, we know Snakes on a Plane exists.
Fuck it. I don't care. I didn't want to talk about Snakes on a Plane, so we didn't talk about it,
Yeah, start your own fucking podcast about snakes on a plane.
We'll be guests. Okay, that's it for this episode. Thank you all very much for listening. Thank you to Patrick Laban for our music. Thank you to Kimberly for producing. She wasn't with us this week, but she will be back. Sam?
Next week, we're talking about Bobby will be joining us. Bobby will be back.
Yep.
We'll be talking about the late, great David Lynch.
Fuck yeah.
He just recently passed away, and we're kind of highlighting his career and talking through some of our favorites.
Yep.
And just what he meant to us and to the world of film.
Very excited for that.
Yeah, I can't wait.
We will see you then.